we are. Got a mold. And I'm ready to lay glass. I let the mold release, wax cure overnight. Tried my best to fill some holes. Just a little bit of wax. And I'm going to lay out my glass beforehand. I'm only doing one layer, just like I did the bumper. The other thing is I'm going to have a challenge right here. So I think I'm going to cut out the cloth right here and then make my own little formed area. But yeah, anyway, it's just going to be one layer. Going to lay out the cloth. Put some PVA on it. Polyvinyl alcohol. And I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Got PVA stuck on there. Polyvinyl alcohol. Let's lay some cloth, man. Oh my gosh. So excited. Here we go. Got one layer on, and that's all it's going to be. So there's some patch areas. Like in this area, there were some holes. Right there. But effectively, one layer. I've got the heater on, and I'm trying to get this to cure. I was thinking I could put some foam on it as it's curing, but the foam's going to expand. I don't want that to mess anything up, but I'm going to put foam around the edges just for some rigidity. Maybe through the middle here, and I'll be able to cut it out if there's any issues with the engine clearance. Around the edge here. It'll be, oh my god, it'll be so awesome. I think this is the moment where everything went downhill. I should have stopped when the foam wasn't even sticking to the uncured fiberglass. So then I had to glue the foam using resin onto the fiberglass. I'm not going to give too many hints, but it's not good. I'm stupid. Don't do this. You're dumb if you do this and repeat my mistakes. I don't recommend doing it. This is not a how-to, especially this part. This is the opposite of productive. Don't do it. Please don't do it. You're just watching for entertainment. This is incredibly dumb with me. Do not, I repeat, do not do it. Do not put the foam on the one layer of fiberglass. Only put foam on fiberglass if you plan to put more fiberglass over the foam as a spacer. It's foamy. I trimmed down some of the foam. It's been 24 hours since I laid the glass. It's probably as stiff as it's gonna get. And yeah, I'm gonna pull the mold. I'm gonna pull the part out of the mold. Yeah, you know what I mean. Here it is, the part. Floppy. I know you're thinking, wow, that's really floppy. But that's as intended, because I'll reinforce areas that need reinforcement. The foam actually helped out a little bit, not as much as I would have hoped, but I think we're off to a good start. And I'm also going to graft on the bumper, and we'll see what that does to the stiffness. I think mostly in here, I'm going to be reinforcing, and it's super important that I reinforce around the engine, because say air's hitting it, and it just hits the engine. Anyway, I want to see how much it weighs. So how much does my fatness weigh? 170. You know, I've been pretty bloated, but I can't believe I'm 170 with clothes on. All right, now I'm holding the thing, which I can do with one hand. I'm like a waiter. Okay, there we go. So 5 pounds. So together, a hood and a bumper, we're at 10 pounds. That's pretty good. I got the hood removed. I would do a before and after weight, but I didn't weigh the hood before it's covered in Bondo, so that measurement would be very inaccurate. Obviously, I could Google it. The other thing too, can you stop that? The other thing is attaching to the fender. So I think what I'm gonna do is just, no, I'll cut the fender here, right? And the attachment point for the hood will be right here, because I don't think wrapping the hood around the body is gonna be very durable. The fiberglass is just gonna crack. So yeah, I'll just cut the fender and link into the metal, but the rest of the fender, it's going away. Just thinking out loud, this gasket, very important. On the Miata, I didn't worry about sealing the engine from the hood, and you can smell fumes. So I'm going to mold the underside of the hood that's touching this and put it onto the hood, and get a load of this. That will probably make it stiff, just in the ways that I need it. That'll be perfect. Boom, that's how it looks. Let's see. It's very floppy. I think I'm gonna build a bracket that'll go from like here into there. Just a quick little doodah. That'll be stable. I'm trimming out the corners right now. A lot of the foam that I added, I have to remove, basically from this line forward, and about from here. Same on both sides. What's under here, it's debatable. I'm gonna wait till I fit the bumper. Yeah, I think I'll add a Zeus clip here, because that's all floppy, so I can reinforce. Then one here, reinforce. Same on the other side. And I don't know what else. So what do I have going on today? Well, I made that bracing, gotta pull that. I made some reinforcing right here, and I'll attach that to that. I also reinforced this corner here. I'll probably have to cut off that. New plan. I pulled that off. It was so easy, and it's like really light and pretty stiff. I'm gonna get rid of this foam in here because it's not working at all. And I'll make the outside frame real quick, and then bond it to here, and then see where I need to go from there. There's the inside of the hood. I suppose I'm not the greatest fiberglasser, but like building up parts of the glass that didn't come out right, it takes a long time. See, like this part I built yesterday, and then I filled in the crack today. Obviously I could speed that up maybe like in a 6-hour period, but you know, you gotta cut, sand, prep, and then you're done. And then you go to bed, and then you do it again. Here I put some fiberglass on a flat piece of metal so I could just have plate fiberglass. The other challenging thing that's going to be challenging is, you see these wrinkle dinkles? Well, that's not because the mold is like warped or the part is warped. It's because once you pull the mold, it's not tight. Or once you pull the part, it's not tight to the mold, so that little bit of gap builds up, and then you get this pinch. So I even had to deal with it over here, where I had to tape everything down really tight to the mold and tape it in succession. That way you push out all the wrinkles, set it, and then it'll be fine. But it's still a lot. And the mold is really, the part is really thin, so I do expect some sort of flexing. The hood bracing, though, will be I think, a bit of a challenge to get onto here. I'm going to pull this part out of the mold and then try to attach that piece into here and then see what else is left to reinforce. After that, I got to combine the bumper with the hood part. I'm feeling regretful because even if I straighten or braced this with the underside of the hood that I made, like it's just bad over here. It's too floppy. I think the foam actually did well. I just didn't hold it in enough spots. Like I think if I did an entire even layer of foam, that might have been better. So the fenders are good for what it's worth, because I got them all straightened up with my bracing. But I think I'm gonna have to relay the middle part. I don't want to do the entire thing again. It's a pain in the butt. Gosh, here we are. I took a vacation and worked on my truck a little bit, and trying to save my attempt at making something incredibly light to be sturdy was going to be more work than I think just remaking the part. And I realized that that was an experiment, and that's what happens. So sometimes you don't do everything right. And I was gonna save the fenders actually, but they're just like too floppy, like just everywhere, like right in there. Anyway, so with this, I'm gonna mix the resin really cold, not put a lot of hardener in it, and gosh, so I'll pour resin first, put cloth over it, and then I'll use that to push out air bubbles, and then maybe a layer of matte, or maybe even another layer of cloth. So I maybe do 2 layers of cloth, matte, and then I get the bracing on. And then, so since the part will be really stiff, actually, this is the other part about thinking and waiting on the project, is I can cut the mold here, approximately, and so that way I can pull one piece of the mold off, and that the part will pull out significantly easier. But, you know, when I cut the mold, I'm going to have to make vertical bracing. That way it lines just right back up in the future. So that's where we are. I think there's a lot of work in my future, but that's what it's going to take to get it right, just because I was pretty unsatisfied with how it all came out in the end. And my OCD wouldn't let me just throw that type of thing on there. So here we go. Round 2. All these flat pieces that I had from that piece of metal, there's a smooth side and a rough side. And this is coming into play better than I thought, but I can have the 2 smooth sides right on each other, clamped, and then I'll glue them with the hot glue gun, and then really glass them in. And then that'll work well. And of course I'll bolt the 2 halves together, or the 4/5 and the 5th, whatever it is. Yeah, this is gonna be good. I got the tabs mounted on, and I drilled some holes. Look at that. Put some bolts through them. And then we'll see if I make things worse for myself. Wow, that line came out really clean. That's like perfect. I'll fill that little cracky do with wax. the way that I lined it all up is I just, like on each end of these little brackets, I chased it through with an oscillating saw, and then over here just connected the dots. So I poked through like here, 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 and then drew lines and connected the dots. And god dang, that's awesome. That was way better than I thought. I thought it was going to be like a total disaster, and I'd have to murder myself. Oh yeah, dude, now we're getting smarter. Got 2 layers of cloth down, a layer of mat. And then I got the inside of the hood bracing. I got the vertical bracing for the side of the fender. And then I put on the hood bracing with a little layer of mat. Popped that down and barely just ran out of resin. That was a lot of work. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's awesome. Split molds are the future, man. That came off like no big deal. Just got to pop the edges and just popped right off. That was awesome. Every mold from now on, unless it's totally flat, will be split mold. That's sick, dude. And it's not floppy like the last one. I don't know how much it weighs, but this is substantial. Awesome. Heck yeah. So excited. Wow, look at that. Just a little bit flexy, but not like before. Holy cow. This is probably the worst part. And I even made it extra thick right there, but you know, whatever. Oh man, that's awesome. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.